True North Reviews, True North Reviews, True North Reviews.
Hey there, welcome to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we are discussing the self-titled Lindsey Buckingham record. This is the latest solo release from former lead guitarist and male lead singer of the legendary soft rock band Fleetwood Mac. Since his termination from the group in 2018, Lindsey has spent his time assisting contemporary artists such as The Killers and Halsey, being credited with guitar playing on tracks like Caution and Darling, respectively. Both of those songs are fantastic in their own right, but the thing that impresses me the most in recent years from Lindsey is that despite leaving Fleetwood Mac, he hasn't wasted away his songwriting talent or his musicianship. While most other artists would likely wither away with age and be forgotten in our collective memory, Buckingham, from my perspective, has stayed in a songwriting groove while only strengthening his appeal based on his branded impromptu virtuosic guitar solos that bookend what is normally a solid rock song. And that's what made me excited for this solo release, because between Lindsey staying active with features on other artists' work, he has now tasked himself with the full artistic creation and control of this album here. Expectation being that we may get a second helping of what Lindsey has been helping other artists craft over the past couple years. And that control or vision that Lindsey shares with others is not only on display on this record alone, but it's also a bit of a nostalgic trip back to familiar sounds and ideas, at least on the front half of the record, calling back to that prime era of Fleetwood Mac. Now, before I forget, I do want to mention that Lindsey Buckingham is the primary writer of these songs, of which there are 10 in total, and he is also performing and recording them, basically going the whole 9 yards with this album's conception. Hence why the self-titled release, and where listeners begin on this record is on the track entitled Scream. Short in its runtime, Scream does not fail to make a quick impression that's very entertaining, very joyful and jubilant, a true tone setter for the album if I do say so myself. It's all about letting loose, having fun, and relaxing. On to the record's second track, I Don't Mind. This composition is nearly doubled in its runtime compared to the opener, and it is also known as the lead single of the record. Now, a title like I Don't Mind does put some pressure on the artist to write a song that people don't mind and can tolerate, and thankfully I don't mind the song at all. Frankly, I'd say it's one of the high points on the album, the enjoyment stemming from its layered vocals and the right channel. Those are mesmerizing. And even the guitar playing in the background along with a steady drum pattern are enough to invite me back for multiple listens. Continuing along, the album's third track, On the Wrong Side, is a soft rock gem complete with an anthemic chorus, delicately played synth bass, chugging rhythm guitar, a dinky keyboard lead, all topped off by not one but two guitar solos. For sure, the track is heavy on the Fleetwood Mac worship, but the tune is irresistible. Come on, don't kid yourself. The album then departs from its Fleetwood Mac inspired sound on track 4, Swansong, which gets a little more ambitious in its genre and style, incorporating almost what sounds like a break beat. Regardless of what instrument it is exactly, this programmed nature of the tune is something that is hit or miss on the album and will appear again later, but for Swansong in particular, it's juxtaposed against jarringly to the traditional A-B-A-B song structure, of course. This proving that Lindsey isn't completely out of his element or comfort zone, but needless to say, it's still a track to be appreciated on the album. As the record moves along, however, I stall in recommending at least the middle portion of the project. Blind Love is a standard and generic track, even for the likes of Lindsey, the major detracting factor here being the drums, and just how they sound way too forced and rigid in their performance. Most likely thanks to the drum programming, but still a slight disappointment in the track list. Additionally, the cut Time is a small hiccup on the record as well. This being the sole track on the album written by someone else other than Buckingham, instead we have Michael Merchant offering his lyrical take on what is another dose of reflection on reality. Time is also notably stripped back in its instrumentation with a snare beat variation accenting the tui and in the meter. Just minor technical details that I pick up that are decent, but by no means are a saving grace. Even the record's follow-up in Blue Light is a bit of a cringy mess. That synth bass tone tone, not the greatest choice in my opinion, but rebounding in time to end the record though is the cut Power Down. On this track, I love the whispered and seductive vocal delivery from Buckingham. Also, the virtuosic guitar playing on a 16th note rhythm is interesting. Whether it's provided by the resonating acoustic guitar or shimmers of electric guitar, Power Down is a melodic beauty of a song. Again, the drum programming comes into play here, feeling a little more rigid this time, a little more evasive, and maybe a cop-out for this record, because look, it definitely shows that Buckingham isn't the greatest drummer in the world. Then again, I wouldn't expect much technical skill from Lindsey, given that he's chiefly renowned for his songwriting talent on guitar and vocals. Between those elements of guitar and vocals I mentioned earlier, it's no surprise that Power Down is great. Moving on though, Santa Rosa is the longest track on the album, clocking in just over 4 minutes and 20 seconds. It certainly drags with its pacing, even though it is common to hear a 4-minute song. Just unfortunately though, I get the sense that this song would have benefited from a tempo switch or makeover, something to drive the energy, or what my music teacher used to like to say, drive the bus. That said, the tune on Santa Rosa is still locked in on its tempo. There's nothing technically flawed about the song, but it's a bit of a snoozer if you ask me. Now, closing out the record goes over much better in my opinion. It ends on a tune called Dancing. Another leisurely tempo is showcased on this track, with Lindsey really leaning into his breathy whisper. But at the core of Dancing, compared to Santa Rosa at least, I feel the tune here is stronger and is a way more serviceable conclusion for the album. Now, overall, although it's not as immediately iconic or striking as his material written for Fleetwood Mac, Lindsey Buckingham provides listeners with a decent reintroduction to his music. Heck, if you know absolutely nothing about him personally, this might be a good introduction. It is, again, interesting that it took this long for a self-titled release to come out, but at the age of 71, Buckingham is still pulling out all the stops and making an enjoyable show of it. In other words, he's still got some songwriting talent left in the gas tank. That's my opinion. And as a recommendation, this record is worthy of a listen. Personally, I'm not sure if it will land on my top albums of the year list just yet. But that said, it's a welcome return to some 70s inspired soft rock. And who am I kidding? It's always nice to check up on one of the former members of Fleetwood Mac, especially when he happens to just be one of the greatest songwriters of modern time. As for me, I'm feeling a strong 6 out of 10 on this self-titled release from Lindsey Buckingham. There's the album review for today. Make sure you guys sound off down below in the comments. Tell me what you guys think of this music, whether you agree or disagree. I'm here to engage with you guys. If you'd like to leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town. I'd appreciate that as always. Thanks for watching and have a rockin' day.